to record this on our computer as well. And hello. Oh my gosh. I love it when I step into social media, Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and find somebody who, when I start talking to them, it just feels like, oh, I totally want to hang out with this person.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. If you were referring to me, but
that would be so rude. And when I do, I always love to be able to share the gift of this person's story with all of you. So I met Cristina a couple weeks ago. We hopped on live to chat on Zoom and get to know one another. Thank goodness for Zoom and all of things technology, because she lives in Italy, but most of the time she lives in Dominican Republic, and I'm in North Carolina, and we get to meet one another across the world and connect around the common values of wanting to live what I'm calling an abundant minimalist lifestyle, or a digital nomad lifestyle, wanting to be able to explore the world and really harvest all the gifts associated with travel that are so incredibly plentiful that we are so deprived of right now. And so Cristina agreed to be able to hop on live from Italy to be able to share a little bit about her story. And I think you guys are going to love every ounce of it as much as I did. She really lit up my day when we were connecting a couple of weeks ago, and I can't.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Hello, everybody. I'm really pleased to be here today to be able to share a little bit of my crazy story with the world, or whoever is going to listen to this interview. And just to know a little bit about myself. So my name is Cristina, and I'm from Italy, from a little town in the middle of nowhere, but very close to Venice. That's how I explain it to people around the world. And I never really felt completely at home, here in Italy, until I started traveling. And this happened more or less when I was in high school, because I studied a modern language high school. And here in Italy, when you do this kind of process, in the last 3 years of your courses, you are visiting the three countries of the languages you are learning about. So I went to England, to Spain, and to Germany, because those were the languages I was studying at the moment. And it was really inspiring and eye-opening. And there was this click when I was like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life, hopefully. But when you're at the beginning, you still need to figure out. So when I was young, the beginning of my path was literally just like trying to find opportunities and resources to get to travel as much as I could with really little. So I started by, just spending hours and hours online looking for cheap flights. We are very lucky in Europe that we have companies like Ryanair, EasyJet, Vueling. They have like $5 to $10 flights. I know that for people in the US, it's pretty like, oh my God, what? And so I started from that. And then there are some projects from the European Union that are funding for young people to get together and meet and spend some time, especially connecting Eastern and Western Europe to foster a relationship between young people to avoid, racial discussions in the future. And I tried to work with that as well, which was an awesome way to meet people along my way. And obviously, at some point, you need to figure out a way to actually make money with what you love. So for me, it was a bit of a process to reach what I am doing right now, which I'm going to keep it for the end. So people have to wait to know what I'm doing right now. So I spent some time traveling alone. So sometimes I worked. So I lived in it for a year in Australia to save up money and then traveled. So that was a phase of, you save and then travel. And then I started working for a company, a Canadian company called Global Degree, and they were organizing trips for students who study online. And we organized like some full semesters to travel, and that was awesome. Honestly, one of the best years of my life. And I was able to travel the whole South America and the whole Central America together with this group of awesome people that I love. And I'm sending you a lot of love from here, guys, if you're watching. And that was amazing. But at the same time, you know, the project finished and the company kind of, you know, finished and stopped existing. So I had to, you know, reinvent myself many times in the process. So one of the things that I love about being a digital nomad is that you can always rearrange your life. So the main point is not anymore the job, but the main point and the main focus is the lifestyle that you want. So you go around that and not the opposite way around it, because that's the normal way to do it, you know. So you find a job and then your life revolves around the job. So you move where your job is, you may probably get a partner close to that can match your, you know, work schedule and all those things. And for digital nomads, or at least for myself, I see that it's the other way around. So I figured out this is the kind of life I want. So these are the kind of jobs that I can do to actually make it happen.
So your passion for travel really started like high school and it never stopped. You know, you said an interesting statement last week when we were chatting. You said that very commonly you're the most envied and the most hated person at the same time because of the lifestyle that you keep. That really fascinated me. Do you mind speaking to that a little bit?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to specify that with hate, I don't mean like people really hate me and want to, you know, hurt me. I hope. But with that, I mean that they just like really feel that they kind of don't even want to know about my life, because they just get really pissed off by knowing details. So to explain that, so I actually, there's a thing, this is a thing that I noticed really recently. So you know, I had it in my mind for a while because people kept telling me that, but I was like, okay, actually this is a thing. So and I think the way I thought about it is starting from this conception, which is I think that there are three kinds of people. So the first one is the people that don't know what they want. The second category is the people that they want what they don't have. And the last one is the people that want and also love what they have. So unfortunately, in 2020, the majority of people belong to the first two groups. And so the thing is for me that when they say, I wish I were you, I wish I had your life, I wish I have done all these things that you have done, what they mean is not actually, like, this is not even true, because sometimes my kind of lifestyle is not really the perfect one for them, because we all know that everyone has their own characteristics and everyone is different. So probably the lifestyle I chose is not correct for most of my friends or people that know me that said these kind of things. What they really mean is that they want, you know, they need to go on a deeper level. So they don't want the travel, they want the freedom, you know? So they want the freedom to be able to actually do what they love and what they like every day of their life, and not, you know, feeling it as a job. And they also maybe want to feel the happiness that I feel by doing, you know, what I love. So I think that envy and hate are two, you know, outcomes and two things that come as a consequence of this kind of mindset, and, you know, never really stopping at understanding, because to be honest, what I'm doing is nothing crazy difficult, you know. And this is also really connected to me to a scarcity mindset. So with that, I mean that in the world, you know, people think that there are just a certain number of success that you can have, you know, just a certain limited amount of people can have success. So for that reason, when someone else is successful, they feel like something is taken off from them. And this is, you know, a really, really terrible mindset for trying to reach out for your dreams, because then you get really frustrated every time someone is actually doing what you want to do, or getting a little step closer to the dream, and you always, you know, get in a negative state. So I would say that my advice for this kind of people is to just try to ask themselves a little set of questions. So that is the following. So the first one would be like, try to imagine one of your friends and why they are successful, and why you are actually envy them, you know. So okay, so this person, Cristina, I really envy her because she has a lot of freedom, and then you need to think that if this achievement of mine, you know, actually takes something off from you. So the answer is normally no, like it's not that it's taking off anything from you. And third part of this exercise is actually, would you like be happy to take off this benefit and achievement from someone who is your friend and someone who you care about? And that should be also no, the answer. And the last part is, would you, you know, take that away, also knowing that you're not getting anything out of it, you know, because why, like, you know, why would you be happy of me not reaching a certain success? You wouldn't get it anyway in this moment, in this situation, because you probably are not in the situation, you're not ready, you're not working towards it. So I think that's really the way that helped me, because obviously I'm not done in my growth. So there are people that I admire that sometimes I felt envy for in the past. So that's what helped me, you know, getting through the process and actually celebrating with them every success they have. And that really helped also getting the connection closer, and make me, you know, not rob any joy from anybody, because in the end, when you're jealous of someone, you're just literally robbing yourself from being happy for the other person, and the other person for their success.
Oh my gosh. So can you see why I was so excited to just hang out and jam with Cristina? This is awesome. And you know, going back to what you said in the beginning, in the beginning, when you started your travel lifestyle, you wanted to be able to, you wanted to define what lifestyle you wanted to have. Now, and you're right, people are looking for a sense of freedom. They're always looking for a sense of freedom, but everybody defines freedom differently, right? Like some people like geographic freedom, right? Some people like financial freedom, and even how you define financial freedom from one person to another is completely different. Some people like to feel emotionally free, or they like to have freedom of thought. They like a lot of empty space in their mind where they can just be creative and not have to have their mind trapped by the confines of particular activities or jobs or family members. So there's all kinds of different types of freedom. So I think, you know, one of the things that my husband and I typically have done is we sit down and we look at what types of freedom do we really desire right now, and how can we manifest that in our life. And sometimes it's about adding something into our life. Sometimes it's about taking away things from our life, like when we, you know, we sold 99% of our belongings, you know, in order to experience that sense of freedom. So I think that that's a real gem that you brought to the table of this conversation. Is it is being conscious by asking those questions around your friendship, and being conscious around asking yourself, like, what does freedom look like for you as well? So
exactly.
yeah,
I completely agree with that.
yeah.
Everyone has their own perspective, and what is right for you, it's not right for someone else. And that's definitely one of the things you learn by traveling to a lot of different countries, is that we're all different, and what some means something for us might mean absolutely nothing for someone else.
Yeah, and speaking of traveling to a lot of countries, you've traveled to like 70 countries, right?
Yes, I did. Sometimes I can't believe it either. I'm like, wow, oh, okay.
Depending on how you define countries, and sometimes there's little minor fluctuations, we have about 190 countries on our planet. So, I mean, you have traveled a substantial amount of these countries. Now, besides being able to do things like capture great photos and have fun adventures, what is it about traveling that really inspires you to continue to do it?
Well, I think that's, you know, to me, traveling is everything. And I really hope that I I'm gonna be able to do it for the rest of my life. I always follow, you know, those crazy old grandmas that travel when they're like in their 80s, and I'm like, I want to be that person. And so for me, it comes to like a couple of things, especially when I think about what inspires me to keep doing and keep going for exploration and new places, new countries. So first one is absolutely to be able to appreciate the diversity in this planet that we call home, you know, that there's so much and there's so many places, people, food, cultures, experiences, there's so much, and it's always expanding, like it's a never ending process of learning. And this thing, you know, makes me feel like not even one life is enough to actually know everything and try everything. So I just want to try to make the best out of the one I have. So at least being able to experience as much as I can, or until I want to, you know, until this is the main goal for my existence. And the second thing is actually that I am a little addicted to challenges. So when it comes to the adrenaline that I feel when things get harder, especially when you're a solo traveler and a woman, things get harder easily. And especially when it comes to, okay, missing the flight, missing the train, not finding a hostel, not having internet connection, being stuck somewhere and not finding where to go, or not being able to communicate to the people that are living in the place where you are. And I think that helps a lot, pushing your boundaries and pushing yourself beyond the limits. And one little story that comes easily to my mind, which I think is one of the moments for myself that really helped me understand how much I could do by myself, is when I was living in Australia. I got really sick. I just had really high fever. I finished every tablets I had, and I was like kind of desperate. My roommate didn't have any, and I was like, oh my God, I really need to get out and then actually get them myself, because she was at work for like the next 12 hours. And so I got into a taxi and went to the doctor, got my recipe to get my tablets, went to the pharmacy, from the pharmacy, went home again. And that was probably a span of maybe 2 hours because I was so sick that I couldn't barely move. And in that moment, every minute felt so long, and I was like, oh my God, I really just want this to be over. And also in Italy at the moment, it was probably like 3 a.m. So I couldn't even call my mom and cry, like, Mom, I'm desperate. And that, to me, every time I look back at this moment, I was like, okay, but in the end of the day, I actually did it, and I did it by myself. So even if I was in one of the worst moment for my physical health, I still managed to do what it needed to be done. So this kind of proved me that we believe that we cannot do certain things, but we actually can. So it really helped me in the long run to, when I was thinking about more difficult challenges on the job or on relationships or on the way that I was planning my life, which is, you know, slightly different from most of the people. So I think that was really, really important. And the last thing that I want to say about, you know, inspiration for travel for me is to try to be in love with the unknown. So for example, the only thing I know for sure when I go traveling is that nothing is gonna go as I planned. So I think that's really important to embrace, you know, that you don't know what's gonna be next, and just that at some point when you look back, you're gonna be able to connect the dots. I think someone way smarter than me said that before.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I know that the brain is a really tricky thing. Like, let's imagine you're doing the same commute every single day to your job or to see somebody, and it's a commute you do all the time. How many times have we done a commute and literally gotten to the place that we were at and we're like, I didn't even, like, how did I get here? It's like, your brain isn't fully engaged in the world around you because it's so habitual. It can fill in the dots, right? And so I
Yes.
feel like when I'm traveling, I don't know if you feel the same way, when I'm traveling, my senses are more alive. When I'm traveling, when I'm experiencing something new, my senses are heightened in a way that just feels really invigorating. You said addicted to the challenge or addicted to the adrenaline. For me, it's really like that heightened state of the senses, whether it's eating a new food or seeing or hearing a new sound or whatever it is. It's like spidey senses all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, this is basically just being present, but
Mhm.
we kind of forget to be present a lot of the time in our daily life. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So you did settle down for a little bit. You settled down to get your master's in social entrepreneurship, and you
Yes.
created a program that sounded really cool. It's a program for youth to be able to explore the positive sides of failure. Ooh, failure, a word that nobody likes to talk about, right? Failure,
I know.
shame, Brene Brown tackled shame, and you're tackling failure. Can you
Yes.
a little bit more about why you enjoy helping others to connect to the positive side of failure, and what do you feel embracing failure has really helped you with?
Yes. So when it comes to like helping others, I think that in life, at some point of our life at least, we all seek to have an impact on other lives, whether it's, in our own way. It doesn't have to be everybody doing charity. It can be just helping the community, it can be helping with your kids, mates, and just very simple things. But what we look for is sometimes people look for money, power, fame, and it's been proved that, for example, money can be really life-changing until a certain amount. So once you reach that amount, which if I recall well is like $75,000, at least the study was in the US, obviously, and until like once you reach that, you kind of need something more. You're like, okay, I have food, I have a nice home, I have a car, I don't have to worry about my daily needs, so I can look for something else. And we normally find that the thing that we look for is meaning. And when it comes to travel and experiences, I see that a lot of people maybe behave as private collectors, I call it. So people just collecting experiences for themselves, and they really treasure them, the good ones and the bad ones, and especially the bad ones are not shared. It's not something that we love and enjoy to share with our friends, be like, oh yeah, I actually lost $5,000 because I invested into something that failed completely. We're probably never gonna mention that. So I think that we should behave in a way that we are like an art like building an art gallery. So when you build an art gallery, you want to share what you have. So you want to keep everything for yourself, even if those paintings mean so much to you, but they actually are available for everybody to learn, to enjoy, to experience. So that's more or less the same for my travel experiences and my life experiences. So when I try to help others through this program or other activities in my life, I imagine, as I can save someone from doing the same mistakes, or I can make someone feel better about themselves. And with this course, it was actually, the way I found my meaning at the moment. So from the perspective of introducing more failure in our normal daily lives, I try to engage especially with young people, because I believe that the course is kind of for everybody because there's no right age to get in touch with these concepts. But if you start since you're young, it's probably even more impactful, especially because I think that in our culture, and the Western culture, and in our systems, so like family and school system, we are really brought to think that failure is connected to something that you need to be ashamed of, or something that you need to hide. And it's really, really normally linked with fear. So what I tried to do in my little course was to actually give the tools to reframe the idea of failure, and just finding, another way to see it. And it was to connect it to challenges, to see it as something that it's okay, it's normal, like normalizing it in our daily life. And that most of the time we get stuck and blocked with our dreams just because we're so afraid to fail and so afraid to never reach that perfection that we think other people want to see from us. And that in that moment, it's actually better to do something instead of just preparing so long for something to never happen.
Yeah, and for those of you who are interested, I will be putting a link to Christina's blog, so at least you can start following and discover how to be able to connect with her on that level as well. But Cristina, I gotta say, like, as an American, when I think of the place that you've chosen as your favorite stay right now, when I think of it, I think exclusively of all-inclusive resorts. And I'm not drawn to an all-inclusive resort, so I've never thought to explore this part of the world before. And here you are, you lit up my mind to the island of the country of the Dominican Republic. You told Jeff and I about it. Jeff was immediately going off and exploring Airbnbs and exploring flights, and
nice.
So you may see us down there at some point. But tell us a little bit about the place that you treasure in the Dominican Republic and why you love it so much.
Yeah, so first of all, a little background story is that after traveling so much, I was super afraid of not being able to find a place that I loved, as a whole, because I was really afraid of keep comparing it and be like, okay, this is nice, but I've been to a nicer beach, or there's nicer waterfalls in South America. And always, when you've seen so much, you are worried to get so used to beauty that you are not able to value it anymore. And actually, when I went to the Dominican Republic, it was to meet and have a little holiday with a friend of mine from California. And we were basically looking for the cheapest place where we could fly from where we were at the moment. And we went to the Dominican Republic, we had a tour, and the place where I live, which is Las Terrenas in the north of the island, was our last stop. This place is like a little town, really vibrant atmosphere. It's located in the north, in a peninsula, and it's really well connected to the capital. So it's just a couple of hours away from big city life. And I really love it because it's not too small, so that you feel like lost in nature and without any track of what's happening in the world. But it's also really, really wild, in a sense that it's connected to lush green jungle, and then also has a lot of beautiful beaches, just the way they are. So there's just a few resorts a little away from where I live. And so mostly people who come there come through Airbnbs, hotels, and have a different mentality for travel. As you mentioned, a lot of people from the States choose to go to resorts, which is absolutely a fair choice, especially if someone works every day of their year, 12 hours a day. I completely understand why they go for something all-inclusive, because they don't want to worry about anything at all in those only, 7 days when they're on holidays. But if you come to Las Terrenas, you can actually have an encounter with the real life of the Dominican Republic, which is made of awesome people, really friendly, and vegetation like fruits and food, fresh fish that is taken from the fisherman in the morning and brought you for your lunch, and then you can do activities. There's a lot of surfing, kite surfing, snorkeling. You can do on boat trips. You can go visiting other beaches. You can go and hike in the jungle. There's beautiful rivers and waterfall to visit. There are whales coming like in this time of the year from December to March. So it's actually really diverse. And also the atmosphere with other expats. So there's a lot of young and also older people who live there, who come and go. Some people have their base there. Some other people are based maybe in the US or Canada and come there for like 2, 3, 5 months a year to, you know, avoid the cold. And I really, really enjoy the vibe, the people, the food, and the nature. So if I had to sum up what I love about that place.
And how, then this is like a geeky question. How's the internet connection?
It's actually pretty good. So
Good.
the place where I'm staying, they have optic fiber connection. So
Nice.
actually better than my place in Italy. So it's incredible, but it's actually true. And so this is because this German guy who manages it is really into football, so he live streams a lot. So he makes sure to always have you know, pretty good internet connection. But if it's sometimes it's an island, it's always a third world country still. So sometimes if it rains a lot, they cut off the power. But there's pretty good service for mobile phones, so that you can always, you know, hotspot if this is for digital nomads. There's actually pretty good options, even if, you know, the place where you're staying has not the best connection ever.
Yeah. And so like, not everybody who travels is like a YouTube celebrity and gets paid just to travel, right? So here you are, you're enjoying your lifestyle, you have consciously created this lifestyle for yourself, and you still have to make money, right? So like, how are you experiencing your kind of use the word side hustles? What types of things are you doing in order to accommodate for your financial needs?
Sure. Sure. Well, my main income comes from social media management. So I work for other enterprises and clients who have small or bigger businesses and help them find their voice in their channels and reach more clients and up their sales and so on. Then I have a couple of side hustles, as you call them. One, I'm working on a swimsuit line with a friend of mine. As we live in the Caribbean, we mostly wear just swimsuits all day long. So we're trying to have our own line made of you know, spandex made of plastic, so recycled materials, and you know, in a factory which works ethically with the workers. And then I am building this membership program for personal development, which is my big passion, and still work in progress. So for now, it's just a blog, but we're working on a video version so that we can have specific paths so that people can follow according to their needs of the moment. It can be, you know, looking for inspiration. It can be finding help to find their purpose or to make it happen. It can be getting out of a toxic relationship. It can be like very, very diverse. We want it to be, and I'm working on that with a friend in the US who's actually certified to do these kind of things. And what else? I do some coaching on the side too, because I really love, you know, to help people bring the best that they have out and find real fulfillment in their lives. And and I do photography as well. A lot of things in my life. I do photography, so I work for real estate agencies, like casually, so I really enjoy that. And you know, for my own channels, it's something I really enjoy. I like to be on both sides of the camera, not the usual photographer just on the back.
Nice. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with people about yourself, or busting a myth around traveling, or anything that you are building, or how people can connect to you?
Yeah, first of all, if anybody who's listening or who listen wants to ask me different question or more specific questions about what I do or how I did it, you're more than free to contact me on Facebook, Instagram, email, on my whatever, wherever you want. I'm available. And maybe the message that I really would love to share, that I probably already kind of talked about in this conversation, is that the best thing to do is just start. It doesn't matter if what you're doing in the first moment doesn't pay the bills or it's not enough. At least you're starting, and to gain confidence and to build skills, it takes time. So what I'm doing right now, it's a process of years of, you know, just Instagramming for pleasure and just to learning more for my own pleasure, so I could actually be able to help someone in the future. But when I was doing so, I was not really planning. So I was just like enjoying what I was doing. And so do not underestimate the way you can monetize something that you love. I mean, there's people literally getting paid for just talking in front of a camera. There are people being paid for literally like almost anything, I would say right now. Like you just you're the world is your audience in these days with this amazing technology that we have. So as the world is your audience, you're always gonna find someone that likes the same things that you do. So just try to become the best at what you do, and that's the way to go.
Yeah, adding value to the world, right?
Yeah,
Add
yes, and
value to the
finding,
world.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank you so much. And if you're watching this on our Go Where It Feels Good YouTube channel, then you can click below to be able to access the link to see Christina's blog and all things Cristina. And I want to thank you so much for hopping on and participating with this. And we'll see you soon. I will hit stop record. Bye.